Okay,
That yeah.
wonderful. We are live. Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good evening, wherever you're joining from. Welcome to the biggest live stream that I have been part of, or rather, I have hosted. I'm not, yeah, actually both. Having 10 speakers, as in barring me, having 9 speakers on the screen and discussing a very interesting topic. I was just chatting with my son. He asked me, what's the topic? I said conference on how to be part of a conference. So a very interesting topic. I've been asked often. I'm sure collectively would have been part of 100 plus conferences, at least in this panel. A lot of questions keep coming is saying, what do you do? Do you have a job or do you just keep attending conferences? Some wacky lines, some half truth, some sarcasm. I've heard it all. So I thought it's good to get all of us together and share some insights of what we see as the value addition being part of the conferences. Okay, so if I just go about doing the introductions of all the panelists here, that will be 1 hour. So what I'm going to request is, each one of them to come out and give a one-line introduction. While I do that, I'll request audience to share your comments, put in wherever you're logging in from. Just introduce yourself and tell us where you're logging in from. And okay, we have Devansh. Okay, he's excited to see for SHRM. Okay, so we'll dive in straight with the introductions and the numero uno. Let's welcome Abhijit. Abhijit, over to you.
Hey, thank you so much. See, the advantage of doing anything when you go in alphabetical order is that it has to be me first. That's how it happened in school. That's how it happened in college, and now it's happening on LinkedIn Live as well. So, um, my introduction is that I think I've traveled the longest distance to be part of SHRM conference. I came in from Seattle, just landed a couple of hours back. So if you see me blurry eyed, it's because of the jet lag. So I'm the most jet lagged. That's my one line introduction.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Abhijit. And I'm sure a lot of your followers will be looking forward to your views. Over to you, Aditya.
Hey, hi everyone. Aditya here. So I am the youngest amongst all of these, people present over here, and yeah, looking forward towards the SHRM conference. I am also an author of the SHRM Influencer Academy.
Okay, did we lose Aditya there? Aditya, author. We'll come back to the author. Over to you, Daksh.
Hey, thanks, Ram. I think age was anyway specified by Aditya, so I won't comment on the same. But I think I have a diverse background over the HR landscape. Have been into recruitments, into product management, into digital transformation, all different aspects. And happy to be a part of this forum and attend SHR for this year.
Wonderful. Okay, Himanshu.
Yeah, hello everyone. So I'm Himanshu. I take care of talent acquisition, and I'm passionate about bringing diverse talent into vibrant workplaces. And meantime, I enjoy dancing and exploring the world.
Exploring the world. Okay, let's see what excites Nandita.
Yeah, good evening, all. I'm Nandita. For me, it is HR Business Partnering, Employee Connect, and CSR is a initiative which is close to my heart. So I drive it in my current organization also.
Wonderful. Nitya.
Yes, so very good evening, all of you. So this is Nitya Chandar from Chennai. Rainy monsoon hit Chennai. So what do you do on a rainy evening when you can't step out? Attend a conference, of course. So that's why I'm here, carrying 2 decades of HR experience in my legal offshoring unit in Chennai. So happy to connect with you all today.
Okay, so the idea for SHRM is do some cloudburst in Delhi so that people come for the conference. Okay, Rutvij.
Hi Ram, thanks for the invite. Hi everyone. I'm Rutvij, and my introduction will be I'm an HR practitioner and enthusiast by day, by profession, an aspiring author by night, and an aspiring harbinger of positive change by the weekend.
Ah, wonderful. Okay, Here comes the HR Bytes guy, Sahil.
I wish I had lines as beautiful as Rutvij, but Ram, I think you've done the introduction, the HR Bytes guy. Love, breathe, eat, sleep, drink HR, and therefore I'm so blessed to have HR in my name. But having said that, I was just telling Ram while all of us were coming live in the pre live that this actually feels like being on national television at prime time. With 10 small faces. I've never been part of something as big as this. And I'm truly enjoying already and looking forward to the rest of the evening with all of you.
Absolutely. Loving the vibe completely. Over to you, Vivek.
Thanks, Ram, and hello, everyone. My name is Vivek, and I have a 16 years experience. Started my career as a technology professional working on mainframes, and then moved into the learning and development, and now into an HR business partner role. Looking forward for an engaging evening today. Thank you.
Okay.
Ram, I
So
just realized something. I just realized that, since all conferences these days really begins and ends with AI, I kind of thought that, I'm the only person here whose name begins and ends with AI. Abhijit Bhaduri.
Oh, that's a good one.
wonderful one.
Just
Yeah.
to add, Abhijit, my name's end with HI, Human Intelligence.
There you go. Mine is artificial.
Okay, so here is a question for the audience as well, but I'm going to ask the panel as well. Just a curious number. I'm sure we won't have exactly counted how many conferences we attended, but just a random number. I think I would have attended about maybe 100 conferences. I'm inviting audience who is watching, just key in your comment. How many conferences have you attended so far? Big, small, whatever. Yeah. Random. You can go in any order. Just a number. Daksh?
I think close to somewhere could be in the range of 30 to 40. That's the
Okay.
number that I can guess upon. Yeah.
Okay. Quickly from others.
20 plus for me.
20 plus. Okay.
Around
I'm going to
30.
wait for everybody to say, their numbers. I'll add it up, and then that's mine.
I knew that was
I was-
coming, Abhijit.
I was about to say, Abhijit, this time you better go last because
I have to. I will.
We can put
It's
all of
that-
us on one side and Abhijit on the other side. I think the numbers
It's
will
that-
tally. LHS will equal to RHS.
LHS equal to RHS.
Yes.
So I mean, in the cartoons, you see, right? Somebody actually standing on the weighing machine and it says tilt. Right? That's
Absolutely.
the thing that happens with Abhijit's number.
In fact,
Okay.
80% of the conferences I have attended, Abhijit is either the keynote speaker or someone who's part of the panel.
oh yeah.
So in my case, I get invited to speak as a keynote only if Rutvij joins in, because the ones where I have not been invited are the ones they said, no, Rutvij has not been there, so we can't let him speak.
This is going to flood my inbox with a lot of invitations, Abhijit.
Yeah, I think we'll have very few conferences where Abhijit is not invited. Okay, so Nadia, good to see you here. 20 plus. Shubha Prada, easily 100 plus. My God. So Abhijit, will you give us your magic number?
So mine is really one, because
Okay.
one is whichever I focus only on the one that I'm attending right now. Everything else is past. So I look forward to the future. So this is only the one which is going to happen is the SHRM conference. So my number is one.
This is like this is a masterclass on brand loyalty also.
Because I don't remember the others.
This reminds me, Shivam Dubey, the cricketer, was asked in a show saying who is a better captain, Dhoni or Rohit or Surya, and he says whichever captain I am playing with, he is the best captain.
Absolutely.
Okay, so quickly, we easily attended so many conferences. Obviously, we see a lot of benefits. Quickly tell me in probably 2 lines, why do you attend conferences? What do you get out of it? Abhijit.
So I think for me, being able to meet my friends, make new friends, and actually a lot of ideas come through the informal conversations. For me, that's a very important part of it. And then, of course, in the conferences, in every conference, you have some organization which is doing something really magical. So I kind of really enjoy the opportunity to learn from that. So that's my big reason.
Okay, Aditya.
Yeah, I think for me it's about I handpick the
So
conferences that I go because
Okay,
see
yeah.
if
So after Nitya, we go back to Aditya. Yeah, go ahead, Nitya.
oh, did you say Aditya?
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
fine. Go ahead. Go ahead, Nitya.
Oh, okay. Sorry for taking your chance, Aditya. You can follow me. So, I think, for me, it's always been handpicking conferences that I go to because I am very clear what is the theme of the conference, what kind of people are going to attend, and what are the questions in my mind that I want to ask people from industries of different sizes. Because having reached a stage of complacency, for, having worked in the same sphere for a long time, I would like to take a peep into other organizations of what other people are doing for their people organizations and what they are bringing to align people and the business goals. So that is my curiosity element.
Okay, best practices, cross learning. Okay, Aditya.
Mhm.
yeah, so this is going to be my first conference basically, and the mindset with which I'm going is to learn and to connect with people from the industry, and also to maybe align my skills and the current industry trends as well. So this is what I'm looking forward to.
Hmm. Yeah. So meanwhile, Vineet is asking. I have some questions. If I'm allowed to speak, would be helpful. You can put in your comment, Vineet. You can put in your question as a comment, and we'll respond to that. And thank you for being here today. Yes. Who's next after Aditya? Daksh.
So I think I have been primarily into a couple of aspects that I focus into. One is getting to know cutting edge insights and trends in the field that I am in. Coming from a product background, actually, that helps me figure out where the market is going. And the next is obviously to explore new products, services, and technologies that are upcoming and how the world is changing. I mean, these are two things that I look forward to in any conference that I do.
Okay, so we've got so far making new friends, best practices, getting to know the trends. Okay, let's see more. Himanshu.
I mean, the first one for sure, Ram, is that you connect with the like-minded people, professional who are there in HR fraternity as well as in the other business also, because you see that the other business leaders are also those kind of conferences you attend and what exactly happening in the world, not only at your organization. Of course, that is one. Second, you also get to know about the products which the other companies are launching in the expos. So that's a wonderful area wherein you get to know that this kind of products are there which can be useful to us. So that's another amazing thing.
Yeah, so I've got introduced myself to many new products that way, and have started using it at my work as well. So Nandita.
One insight is it's networking. So there is more to our sectors and there is more to HR, as we say. So the best practices, and diversity and inclusion is the agenda which we are driving in our current organization. So best practices is what I happen to handpick in few of the conferences I had attended.
Okay, Rutvij.
So I think first I echo the sentiments of the people who've spoken so far. Right? The first has to be networking and the opportunity to meaningfully connect with people from the same industry, people across domains in HR. I think the second important reason why I would attend a conference is because typically most of these conferences help you stitch together an integrated view of the entire spectrum of HR. So while you might represent a particular domain, it allows you to also experience where you sit in the larger scheme of things on the HR and business front. And I was in consulting for most of my career so far, so it also allowed a peek into what the competitors are doing.
Interesting. Sahil.
I think multiple reasons, right? And I'll try not to repeat what people have already said because I resonate with each one of those. One, very clearly, I think conferences are a melting pot. So instead of just organizing a meeting of having friends coming home or catching up otherwise, you get to a conference and you meet so many people who otherwise at one point in time you wouldn't get a chance to meet. So I think that's absolutely fantastic. Two, I've also seen many people, many organizations, including speakers or people who put up their stalls, talking about use cases. And I think that becomes fantastic because they come in and give examples and stories of how they've done path breaking work in the space of HR. So that's a great learning opportunity. Three, I'll be honest, a slightly selfish motive. You get to invite people to your podcast. So when I run my podcast, finding guests is very difficult because they're the usual names that keep doing the rounds. But when you get to a conference, you meet an interesting person. It's a great opportunity to invite that person to your podcast and take it forward from there. And the late evening ones, I think no better way than to unwind after the conference over a couple of drinks with friends. So I think it's not just the free booze, but it's the booze at the end of the event and just winding down the evening and then maybe just chilling in someone's room, going back to college days. So it's a lovely way to end the conference, especially if it's a 2-day conference. You're all staying back there. So then it goes into the evening and the night. So becomes a great long networking, bonding, brotherhood, get networking. So that's the whole thing in a nutshell. So yeah.
Wonderful. Vivek?
Yes, so in fact, most of the points that people have covered on, but then there's also one which I generally look forward in attending a conference, and that also very goes with the particular agenda, specifically the master classes which are happening. And that's my own personal choice of doing a skill development, where you sometimes you may have to do an unlearn and learn, because again the cohort at that point of a time would be of different generations coming together and again ideating on that particular point, and there's a leader who's talking about it. So that's one thought I would be highlighting, and that's where one my selfish motive of attending the conference comes in.
Wonderful. I think we got lot of ideas from networking to idea generation to making new friends. Even podcast guests. That's a new one that I heard. Yeah. For me, what I call as to avoid an echo chamber. I definitely go to a conference, and one of the things that I tell my coaches and my team is make it a point to meet people outside of your function, outside of your industry, and that's what you get to do at conferences. Otherwise you are listening to like-minded people, same industry, and that tends to become an echo chamber. You get a different perspective when you are part of those conferences. Just to break the monotony here, I'm just going to invite any of you to sort of say a wacky line that you heard about conferences. Sarcasm, half truth, PJs, anything that you heard about conferences.
The
I think
one
it's a
definitely comes is dinner, is the lunch timing, the food getting served, and the people getting in the queues immediately on it. So that's one word about it. Okay, there are multiple sections. Okay, this section, the food variety is different. Let's get to the next section and see what's happening over there. Ultimately, it's the same food which is there.
To
Okay.
me, I think the most, and I say this in a light vein, it's the most socially acceptable way to avoid doing some real work. Attend conferences.
Good one. Okay. Most acceptable way. Okay.
I know it becomes actually too easy just to just to actually wind up things. As Rutvij was stating, I mean, that's the best way to put it, as an excuse in the office to say, I have a conference to attend, better things at place.
Okay. A convenient and a very engaging excuse. Okay. Sahil?
I'll
I loved your post. I loved your post, Sahil. It has a lot of these wacky lines in your post. Maybe you can dish out one or two of them now.
Sure. Maybe I'll respect the privacy of the person who shared this with me. But the person actually told me, and she said, Sahil, I love going to HR conferences. And I asked her, but why? And she says it's a great place to date people. And for a minute, I actually, I had never heard of this answer. And she says, you know what? I just go there and there's so many people I can meet and I pick who I want to talk to. I walk up to the person and then I have my next date. And I was like, okay, I didn't know HR conferences are dating places as well. But yeah.
Okay. So
I
I've
did
heard.
read
Yeah.
about LinkedIn being the next Tinder. So because that, so this is only proving the same point of view.
Yeah.
You were saying something, Ram. Sorry, I interrupted. Apologies.
That's fine. So I've had one organizer talk about it. While referring to the speakers, he said what they cannot do in their own companies, they come and talk about here about it.
Hopefully wishing that someone is listening and will agree with them when the audience claps. So
disclaimer, because it's going on a record. This is unverified. This is okay. So I've got a comment. So let me see. Okay, Nadia seems to resonate with Sahil. She's saying what she heard is conference as speed dating. I've referred to speed mentoring in multiple conferences. Speed dating is the first.
Speed dating with the mentor.
With the man.
and imagine if you add AI to it, Ram. Just imagine if you add speed dating, mentor, and AI coming together. What a lethal combination. Abhijit, what say?
I'm 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 sure.
Now we know why Abhijit flew down from all the way from
Maybe we are,
Seattle.
maybe we are just right now talking about one future conference in the same format. We never know.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure there will be an AI that will sort of match mentors to the participants and say, okay, go sit on tables, and mentors will get randomly assigned from random to AI assigning. And that's not very far. I can see other comment from Subha here. Conferences are like brain spas. So many ideas buzzing around, feeling both relaxed and ready to conquer the world. Okay. Interesting. Thanks for ending this segment on a more serious note. Uh, Request to all the audience: please don't take everything that we say very seriously. A lot of good stuff happens at conferences. Okay. Um, so moving on to the uh, yeah, in my view, the heart of the discussion. Um, a lot of coaches even come to me saying, okay, I go to conferences and do what? I'm not good at striking conversations with strangers and exchanging cards and having a conversation. um, what do I do? So some tips, hacks, do's, don'ts around how do I make the best use of my time at a conference. What do you do? And any advice on what you don't do? There's a question from Vineet. We look into it. In the meanwhile, we can get started on do's and don'ts on how to make the best use of your time at a conference. So anyone who is ready can take this up.
Maybe I'll just
I
start
like
off.
to just
Others can
please
add
go
on.
ahead.
Senior first.
Good.
Sahil, go ahead.
Sahil.
Abhijit, after you.
I just think that I like to, choose the session which I'm going for because it needs to be something which is something I'm interested in, and the speaker I think has the credibility where I can learn from that person. So you kind of really balance that. So I would specifically look for somebody who's really very early in their career. I would always make it a point to listen to those because there you get the freshest of ideas. I mean, so that's one part of the piece that. The second piece is, when I think about the time when I'm not necessarily attending a session, I find the expos a great place where you can pick up a number of ideas, because you really get to see the products. So I'm a big fan of the expo, and I think that's an underutilized opportunity. So I find the expos to be fantastic because not everybody can come and speak about something. You can actually go and see the product. The third thing that I would say is that to focus on, if you're not doing either the expo or the session, I would actually try to meet a bunch of people, from different industries, and that's where I kind of really expand my network of talking to people, and really bouncing off different ideas and sort of looking at that. So I think those are the ways that I use. I am fairly selective about the time that I spend in the conference.
Wonderful. Choose your topic, and
Hmm.
expose.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah. Over to you, Sahil.
So, a couple of things, right, Ram? I think so. Many times when I encourage my team also to attend such conferences, three things. One, you have a lot of introverted people who find it very difficult, like you mentioned, to talk to strangers. I think this is a very safe space where they get to learn and also reach out to people. And maybe at times I'll start off with introducing them to people who I know, and then maybe get them comfortable to actually walk up to people and do that. So I think that is one. And a lot of people have come back saying, very useful, very helpful that we got to actually meet people and we stayed in touch with them over the years. Second, I think we see a lot of people who do a lot of path-breaking work either in the media or when they talk on stage. The best time is when they come off stage. Most of the people want to just go and take a selfie with them. But I think if you can actually manage to get that 5-10 minutes, either when they are in the speaker room or when they are otherwise, or you genuinely strike a meaningful conversation, you can actually scrape the epidermis to understand what's not said on the stage and how you can benefit from that and implement that in your context or your environment. So I think while many of us and many people out there who are listening in, who may be attending a conference for the first time or maybe starting off their career, I think very important to try and find that time with the speakers or other people to make a meaningful conversation rather than try and push your business card or just try and take a selfie for the fanboy moment, as we call it. And the third and the most important, I think, in all of these conferences, we go to the expo, we listen to people, but we end up forgetting stuff. So therefore, if you can, like Abhijit does a great job of doodling, maybe all of us are not as talented as him, but we can make our notes on our phone, on a notepad or whatever. Come back and do a post about it. Because there are so many people who may not have the good fortune to attend the conference. There are so many people who may not be able to travel. There are so many people who may be down with an ailment. While, of course, now we have a situation where many conferences are also aired live virtually, certain sessions. But if you just do a write up or a post or your view on your take of the conference, all your followers and followers of followers can actually benefit from this session. And therefore, I believe the best learning is when you train or when you disseminate knowledge. So the third part is the most important that I would urge everyone to latch on to. If you've been lucky enough to be part of a conference, share it with those who haven't been as lucky to be part of the conference.
Wonderful. I think even thought leaders, speakers would definitely agree. They would prefer a quality conversation more than a selfie and a post for impressions of sorts, right? And a brilliant idea there, Sahil. And my thought is that we will do a similar session after SHRM, discussing about what are our learnings from the conference. Now we are talking about what are we looking forward to, and after the conference, probably next week, we'll do a session where we talk about what we learned from the conference, and that also will be of interesting use to others. Um, uh, yeah, Aditya, go ahead.
Yeah. So, I would like to advise the first timers, who want to attend a conference basically. Since I've seen a lot of people in my fraternity who are always curious about gaining a subject knowledge about a particular thing, but they end up maybe referring to any sources that are not really reliable upon. So I always prefer people, or I always advise people to go and attend the conferences and always make good notes of it. As Abhijit said, we should be selective upon the topics and the speakers we want to actually listen about. And maybe we can try to connect personally with people out there. I know it can be a bit hectic, I know it can be a bit stressful with connecting people in between these speaking sessions. But again, I mean, if you can make a bit of effort to go and connect out there with people, to maybe relate your journey with their journey as well, somewhere there might be a point where the person who with whom you are talking, they might have came from a similar situation where you are in. So it is always good to take learnings from these kind of industry leaders, and it is always good to have uh, that much amount of openness as well to go and approach new people, because I've seen a lot of people of my age group, like 22, 23, 24. People are a bit shy, a bit introvert, but at times I believe that for your own sake, for your own well-being, you should step out of that comfort zone, and you should be willing to take up challenges and attend all these things. So yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Who would go next?
So
Ram, I
Vivek?
can go next.
Yeah.
Yeah, Evan, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, Vivek. Vivek and then
So,
Rutvej.
yes. So, Ram, one thing is when we attend conferences, it's important that after a couple of days, go back and share those insights with your team, because that's fair. Because you being a subject matter expert of one particular vertical or two, but with the team coming together, there can be another solutions or situations can come where you can use those particular learnings. Plus, even you can tweak it as per your own organization. And the second element I would want to really call it out is during the conferences, I would request the delegates and participants to maintain that level of energy. When you look at the start of a sessions or start of the day, the people are fresh, energetic. But again, as the day goes on, you are absorbing a lot of information. Some of the basic hygienes would be in terms of just keep yourself hydrated so that you have the same level of energy for the sessions even post like lunch 3 4, because again that's where some the sessions are designed in such a fashion each session will have its own relevance. Your session might be coming off a preference which is at 3 o'clock, for example. If you don't have an energy sustained, if you are starting and ending it right from the morning at 9, you may lose a interest into it and might not able to consider it with an objective which you have decided to work for that event. So that's my second.
Yeah, interesting. Usually the keynote is the one that most people look forward to, and uh, immediate session post lunch is when a lot of breakout discussions happen, and that's when you have the least attendance or so. Yeah. Okay. Rutvij?
Yeah, thanks. So, these are some wonderful points. I think great takeaways from what all of the other people have spoken so far. Just something to add on to what Sahil had mentioned. He said that, the time when the speaker gets off the stage, that's a good time to leverage to better understand what they did not share. And I think what I've realized has added a lot of value is I ask them about what are the challenges, because most times people put forth the best foot, and that they usually speak about how amazing the product is, what are the benefits, which is great most of the times. But there are so many challenges that they must have faced in first building the product and ideating it, in also implementing that. So I think it's useful to also understand from them where they foresee certain pitfalls, which will then allow you to better optimize on your time when you are implementing that in your organization.
Wonderful. And both Rutvij and Daksh, you had come out with some acronyms on what to do at a conference. Do you want to share that?
Sure, sure. Thanks, Ram. So, typically while selecting, and this is because we are in the digital era where we are flooded with so many opportunities to attend conferences and industry forums. So I've selected this framework of a forum where, it's a list of featured speakers, because it's very important. What are the kind of people and the kind of experience and credentials that they bring? I think that's a very important point. Second is the organizer's brand and legacy. Typically, most of these large consulting firms, most of these large thought leaders have a legacy that they continue, and that has been built over time by consistently churning out great ideas, new products, path breaking and cutting edge technologies. Relevance of subject, I think sometimes we get overwhelmed by the opportunities that we get to attend a conference without seeing if it typically does connect to your core area of interest and focus. It's important also to attenuate to your areas of professional interest. U is for the upskilling opportunities. which means where are those pockets which you can allow yourself to, like by capturing notes, by speaking and connecting with other people, by leveraging the learnings from these and debriefing post the sessions to better upskill yourself, identify those gaps which will allow you to be a better professional at work. And the M of the forum stands for measurable long-term value. So which is why you don't just attend the conference and then leave the learning at the doorstep when you leave, but you actually capture notes and bring it back to see how you can implement that in whatever small or large fashion in your work. So I think that allows you to get the repeat value of every conference that you attend. So I use the forum framework before selecting which conferences to prioritize.
Wonderful. And before I go to that, a quick monotony breaker. Anyone wants to take a stab at it? What's a strict no in a conference? You would say, okay, do whatever you want, but just don't do this one thing.
You sitting at a corner and using your phone, just waiting for the lunch.
Okay, or get to a conference and then do official work.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Anything else? One thing I would say is, the being in the same office group. If it is 3-4 of us from the same
Yeah.
organization, if you go for a conference, then if you're spending all the time with those 3-4 folks,
Same groups. Yes.
then there's no point.
There's
You're
no
not
point.
really leveraging on the diversity in the group there. Anyone else?
Well, I think conferences give you a chance to balance, very opposing things. For example, you want to meet your old friends, but you also want to meet new people. You want to listen to, let's say something which is happening on the main stage, and you also want to see the expo. So in many things, you will have conflicting pieces. So I think the ability to plan it out and know that, okay, this particular 2 o'clock or whatever time it is that I'm definitely going to do this, I jot it down on my phone and simply follow that. So that's usually effective. So I really like to do that. I really value the time that I'm allocating to the conference, so I want to make the most of it.
Wonderful. So Nadia gave a good input here. He said, please don't ask for a job. and trust me, I've had many people come and ask me for a job. So that's a good tip, Nadia. And I have a interesting question here from Dr. Arpita. She's saying, okay, after getting connected to new folks on LinkedIn, how do you, or exchanging visiting cards, how do you nurture those connections? How do you take it, beyond LinkedIn connections? How do you actually build a connection? Anyone?
Yeah, if I may just jump in. So in fact, I was going to cover this point a little bit, although not exactly this one, around it. So in fact, when I go for conferences, I feel like I need to double up as two things. One is as a network person for myself, and as a network person for my organization. So I am very conscious about what image I'm carrying for my organization there. What are the people that I'm collaborating with, and at the end of the conference, what call for action I'm leaving behind in the connections I have made. So that is very important for me, because I just don't want to leave it there and come back and feel like, okay, I've done my job. So I need to know how to leverage those contacts, give back to them from my experiences or my other connections, how I can be of help to them, and in return take back what I need when I need it. If I need somebody for a position that I'm filling, is there a network I've built around in the conference that are connecting the dots for me? Is there a sales lead that I'm able to go back to my market sales team and say, what, I met the HR person from this organization, would you want to talk to them? So these are things I am very passionate about, approaching conferences in that way, so that there's a full leverage that I make, just not go and come back. So that of course, to answer her point about LinkedIn, I think we are living in a world where we need not feel any more shy or shut down of connecting with people. We need to be initiators and ping that first hello and say, yes, I was part of the conference, I thought of connecting with you over there, but I could not make a chance out of it, and then I would like to talk to you about this. So I think that's a very open conversation we should strive forward and come to the point. And people would usually like to talk. If it's a professional conversation nowadays, people are very forthcoming in sharing and connecting. So LinkedIn has done a really fantastic job in connecting professional, groups very well. That much I have seen in my experience.
Good. Thank you so much, Nitya. Yeah. So what are the hooks that you can carry the conversation, that you can initiate or carry a conversation forward after having interacted at the conference?
See,
Yeah.
also it's very pertinent about what we say about the person we met in the conference and what is the interest point for them in that meeting. So, if you've spoken to them about a particular aspect in the conference, so you can quickly, recollect that point and start the ping with that, because then they would have met 100 people in the conference. Yeah? It's not, very, very essential that they would exactly remember us. So
Yeah.
the chord we strike should be powerful enough to create that impact in them, that okay, I know this person. She was talking to me about this particular thing. So that is an instant connect. I
Sure.
would do that.
Great. Great. Thank you, Nitya. Daksh, would you like to add and
Perfect.
share your
So
experience? Yeah.
I think the first question that came across was the acronym one. I think I used attend, and that's where I managed out the post by saying you have to attend this specific conference also to understand why you attend conferences and stuff. I think the idea was A stands for accumulating information and knowledge, that you gain that out of such a big open forum with the conferences. The first T comes for it helps you transform your perspective. You get to learn from different people, and hence it's a good opportunity for you to unlearn and learn new things that come across. The second comes for you get to also understand a lot of techniques for success. Only when you meet new people, you get to learn a lot from them and then perhaps try and apply those things. I mean, not obviously things that would have worked for one would have worked for you, but I think it gives you a clear edge in terms of understanding what are your key techniques that you can use actually or apply in your life for success. E comes out for the default thing that people say, that expand your network, go ahead and meet people. I know a lot of time, and I remember, I think when I started attending the conference, and at least the first few months, first few, I think 10 or so, I used to make them as an agenda just to have free lunches ideally. And that was ideally a theme, and I used to be there around with the folks that I know. I mean, because you hardly aren't aware about the entire thing, but I think that's a learning that I've had with time. So that's where E stands for. Then comes with your N, that is, I think you should gain new skills, and that's where you navigate with confidence. So that's where N comes across. It's a good opportunity to gain new skills. I think a lot of time people say that you should try and spend in time with the forums that are ideally lined up with you. But I think it's good to also be a part of certain things which are very diverse in nature. It's very good to have a different perspective as well. That's where N stands for. And D obviously helps in terms of developing your career as and when you grow ahead, right? So you get to know people, you get to have different ideas, you get to learn a lot, and it obviously helps you develop your career ahead.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you, Daksh. A question to Abhijit. As in, you're a celebrity, and a lot of people want to take selfies with you, fanboy moments, etc., etc. Among the many people who reach out to you, and I'm sure tons of people will be writing, DMs to you, etc., etc. What really gets your attention? So, just trying to get a perspective from a thought leader point of view.
I don't know. I mean, I think most of the people, when they ask you for something, there is some context which is triggering that conversation or question. So I think it's important to be able to listen to that and sort of really try and understand what makes the person, what exactly is the person trying to do that. So you are able to tailor the response to the context, so the person can apply, uh, whatever you are saying into the work that they are doing. I also think that it's an important opportunity for me to learn about what the person is doing and why that particular challenge has come up. Sometimes therein lies a big learning option for me. So I kind of am always curious to see that what is it? Is this something specific to the sector? Is it something specific to this organization? Is it specific to the role that this person is in that's creating this? So I really like to look at that.
Okay. That's more the selfless and diligent Abhijit talking. He
The-
responds to every DM,
I
etc.,
have
etc.
a point to add. We should also work on elevator pitch. I have a point to add. We should also work on elevator pitch because meeting all the, quote unquote fanboy moment, for me, it gets baffling. So, to structure the thought, and everybody's time is like limited resource out there in terms of networking. So, what you are seeking, as Nitya's rightly pointed out, what agenda, how are you focused on upskilling yourself? Last but not the least, why are you reaching out to a particular leader? Because barring selfie moment, what is the recall, what's your takeaway? So elevator pitch is also one should work on.
Very well said.
I
Yeah.
mean, just to add to one more point, I also believe that to go through what that person is usually talking about. I mean, it's not just that I meet him as hello, I'm here, I meet you, I'm very excited. Not that way. In terms of making that impression of the thoughts that I what you have written maybe on LinkedIn, or maybe what you have shared, what are your thoughts? I resonate with them, or maybe I have a different opinion, or I have different views, and then sharing those points, so that may increase more in terms of reaction from that person, and then maybe post that, taking that towards post the conference, messaging on the same line that I've been connected on this, and this is my personal view, which I have also researched about it, and then talking about it.
Wonderful. I'm not as generous or as diligent as Abhijit. I am guilty of many people reaching out to me post a conference, and I'm not able to respond to all of them. Or some of them would be just cold emails of we met and we want 30 minutes to share present our product at your office. So a lot of time those may not get responded to, but Sahil, would you want to give any tips? And by the way, there's a question from Nidhi on similar lines in terms of how do you approach prospects on LinkedIn from an inside sales perspective? um,
Sure.
yeah.
So I'll come to Nidhi's question in a bit, but before that, Ram, I think you asked a question of what's a complete no-no at conferences, right? I think many of us have been attending conferences for years now, right, and have grown in our so-called leadership journey. I think whatever we've experienced earlier on in our career, if we can remember that we shouldn't do the same now, that makes a world of difference, right? I'll give you a couple of examples, right? When we were younger on, we would have those so-called fanboy moments, or we would ask the speakers when they got off stage for their business card, and they would say, we don't have it, just as an example, right? Or they would say, the best is for you to connect with me on LinkedIn. And then when you get onto LinkedIn, you never knew that you needed their official email ID to connect with them. And then you get disappointed. Now, when you've actually had those instances, now that when you are on stage, you should put yourself in the same position that you were in a couple of years ago and say, maybe take that time out to spend time with that person to say, hey, why would you like to connect? So many people take cards at these conferences, and I don't know where these cards disappear. They disappear in a black hole. Most of the people don't reach out. The people who reach out with a specific agenda which may not be very clear. So I think a complete no-no would be whatever you experienced that you didn't like as your younger self. Now that you're in a position of authority, or you're a thought leader, or you're a subject matter expert, or you're on stage, don't do that to others. If you don't want to give your number to someone, be very candid to say, I'm not very comfortable giving my number, but this is the person you can reach out. But I want to take this moment to actually call it out. Um, I was at the airport a day before Mr. Tata passed away. And at the airport lounge, Mr. Murthy and Ms. Sudha Murthy were at the airport. All right. I had a great conversation with both of them at the lounge. And at the end of it, I told Mr. Murthy, I said, Mr. Murthy, I would love to have you on my podcast, because this whole 70R that you spoke about, and the way we ended up seeing a couple of suicides, or attempts have happened later on with various employees. I would love to have your perspective because I don't think people have understood what you meant by that 70 hours. So you said, okay, this is my secretary's email ID. You can write into my secretary. I took a pause and I just asked him, I said, sir, can I have your number? That's it. Now, he had a choice, right? He may have thought that, oh, Sahil is pushing his luck too far, or maybe he believes that the secretary won't respond on email, so on and so forth. He says, Sahil, if I've told you I will be on your podcast, I will. This is my secretary's mobile number. You can speak to him right now while we're here and you can fix some time. Now, that is what you call as a man of character to my mind. I am nobody for him, right? I'm just a random stranger who's sitting in a lounge at the airport at 7:30 in the morning, taking permission if I can talk to him, and then Mrs. Murthy comes in, and then we have this conversation. And after 20 minutes of a conversation, I say, I would want the entire world to hear about this conversation. Can we do it as a podcast? Now, the point I'm trying to drive home is very simple. If you want to connect with someone, be genuine about it. If you don't want to connect with someone because it's a sale pitch, because it's not a priority for you or whatever, tell that person. At this point of time, you may have a great product, but I don't think I have the mind space or the time for the next 3 weeks to discuss something like this. It's much better to do that, and the person will respect you a lot more rather than that person being hopeful that, you know what, I can reach out to this person, I'll follow up, I'll do a reminder, I'll try some other platform, I'll engage on LinkedIn. Like Dr. Datta was saying, how do I engage? I'll engage with their post, they will notice me, and then they'll give me an appointment. So my only point is, if you want to do it, be out there and be honest. If you don't have the mind space or the bandwidth, be honest again to say not the best time. Maybe we connect next quarter.
I mean, I always think that if you were to really look at putting yourself in that position, like, imagine you've started a company, you're an entrepreneur, you have a product to sell. This is an opportunity for you to come and connect. And, if the buyer does not give you the time of day, I mean, how are the entrepreneurs going to come up in this world? So I just have tremendous amount of sympathy in that sense, that because there is so much that goes into creating a product, building that, taking it to the world, and then getting that feedback, and then it fails. And you're really, being an entrepreneur is all about just sheer grit and building a thick skin, because you get so much of rejection right through. So I just always think that, I mean, unless it's a product which I have absolutely zero ability to pitch in and help, other than to give a point of view, I would really like to listen to this person, because sometimes just in that whole process, A, you learn, B, I might say, look, I'm not the right person, but I think Sahil can do something, or Daksh can do something. You have your network, you can connect that. I mean, there are so many people who write about roles. I mean, I don't hire anyone for that matter. But there are certainly, people who will say, hey, I'm looking for somebody with 5 years experience. So it's just easy for me to just connect them. So I think it's really that.
Very true. I completely agree. We need to get more such people out there, because, the whole, and maybe this is a different conference topic altogether, that what keeps HR so busy. But I don't think anyone is so busy that you can't take out 15, 20 minutes to hear someone out and their stories. So I completely agree with you, Abhijit.
Yeah, just a quick addition there to whatever everybody is saying, and I'm enjoying the conversation fully. So I also feel like when you have a chance to meet a person who have never who's never met you, or whom you've never met, it's like reading a fresh book. In that 20 minutes you capture that person, you think about him or her on the way home, and think that, why is this person selling this, where is he coming from? So much goes as a chapter in your head, that it's a new awakening in itself. I think we should take into cognizance the fact that the person made the effort to come there, approach people, leaving away barriers in the mind, fighting his own or her own battles, and making it to that point. Like Abhijit sir was saying, it's just a matter of few minutes for us, but it's life-changing experience for the person who was doing it for the first pitch, first time, maybe, who knows, isn't it? So always no harm in giving those few minutes of our ears and eyes to the person.
I think another important thing, because I being a part of a similar space, being a part of a product organization, I think, see, when I think organizations come in and present, it's for sure. I mean, it's worth the while giving that effort because there is something unique that they would have done,
Yes.
something differentiating that they would have created, and hence they have been able to launch something in the market. Right? It's not easy. Let's take an example of a soap. Now, if there is nothing unique that comes across as a USP to a soap, you can't just sell out everything. Right? There is a USP to any product that comes across. So till the time I think that USP is there, I feel it's worthwhile giving that time, even if you don't have an immediate need. It's good from a knowledge perspective if you have an ample, abundant time, for sure, for a half an hour kind of a period wherein you can get to learn more. And obviously, just honestly tell them that whether you are interested further or not, so that people actually just don't do unnecessary follow-ups. I mean, if that's the caveat I give, but it's good to know to increase your knowledge. But yes, respect the other person's time to say that I think I'm not ready today, or my organization is not ready today. Perhaps sometime in the future I'll be more than happy to connect.
Perfect. Great tips there on how to sort of even a etiquette in terms of when you visit conferences, expos, and people reach out to you, how do you respond, and what's the value that you can derive out of each of those conversations. As we hit the end of this session, a quick input from each one of you. We are all excited for the SHRM conference. Any particular session, any segment that you're looking forward to? What is it that you're looking forward to in the SHRM conference?
Yeah, I think, and I can take this. So, while the forum, which I just mentioned earlier, that framework, I think SHRM conferences ticks all the boxes and how. But something that really excites me this time around is the theme of the conference, which is now. I think the urgency in terms of delivering value now, in terms of building now for the future, in terms of understanding that the present is what we control, what we can influence. And I think that's something which is electrifying, and I'm really looking forward to see what people are going to come up with
Okay, so
around this theme.
now is what you're looking forward to.
No.
Great, you like the sense of urgency. Anyone else?
Yeah, I think I'll go next, if that's okay. So I think SHRM conferences for me have been eye openers, in the sense that I've made use of it as these Ekalavya moments, because there's not everyday chance that we get to meet these leaders and interact with them. But when you're there, seeing them closely, observing, taking notes of what they're saying, is indirectly getting mentored by them over a session. And who knows, you can just connect them over LinkedIn and say that you enjoyed what they said about this particular aspect, and they may be willing to mentor you for a lifetime. Who
Yeah,
knows? So
sure.
that's just
Nitya, a quick one line from you on what you're looking forward to.
the Ekalavya moments from many, many mentors out there, experts.
Ekalavya moments from mentors out there. Okay. Who next? Himanshu?
So I'm looking forward to one particular session, which is like now or never, which is between employer and employee, and the sub theme is it with respect to loyalty versus attrition. In fact, one of the topic which we covered last week, which is skills economy, talent skills versus degree. So that's the combination which they are in employee versus employer. So that's what I'm looking forward to. What exactly will be covered in that?
Wonderful.
I can go
I'll go
next.
next.
Okay, Vivek, go ahead.
Yeah, so in particular, I'm looking for one session which is on the day one itself. That's primarily that talks about from the leadership and very specific of the young CEO insights, which have the startups CEOs coming and talking about from a purpose-driven leadership, and just want to look from a perspective, hear them, and also look how the leadership styles are getting changed from the ones who have been tenured to ones running a startup ecosystem out here.
Great. So last two comments, and then we wrap up. Who would like to take up?
So I want to, talk about the sessions that I'm going to listen to, I mean, I think there are quite a few of them. There are people I really look up to and admire. I mean, their sessions clearly I want to sit through. But I also am excited about doing a short piece, in the afternoon post-lunch session on personal branding. So anybody who's interested, please do come. And there's something that I've created for the awards, in terms of a framework, which not only is a diagnostic tool, but it also gives you the way forward. So if you try it out, I would love to get feedback on that, and that'll be amazing. So just really those two.
Okay, awards for personal branding. And anything about talent and tech that you will be discussing there, Abhijit?
Yeah, so talent and tech, that's the award has it's called the Outcomation Index. So what that really means is, there are a couple of elements on each side that you look at. So, what do you do for in the team, the organization and society, and then people, process, technology. On that, you get 5 measures, which we've run through with a whole bunch of board members, CHROs, CEOs. So we've put together some of that. So hopefully people will find value in that.
Wonderful. One final comment, and then we call it a wrap.
I'll go next then. I hope I'm
Yeah.
audible.
Yeah,
Yes,
Aditya,
so
go ahead.
I guess the whole conference is important for me since it's my first time. But like, particularly, I'm looking towards the session called Dark Side of Leadership. I'm excited to know about this side and also excited to know what are the challenges which are faced by the leader. And I am of a view that when you're actually looking towards a leader, should actually be able to adapt a style. Like for example, if Abhijit is speaking tomorrow and I would like to adapt what kind of, in what tone he's speaking or something like that. So I'm of a view that you should attend that and also adapt one or two styles or one or two things of the leaders which you like. So yeah.
Great. So wonderful. So we come to the end of what Sahil calls as the National Republic show, primetime show. Uh, it's great to have 10 of us here. Didn't feel like a panel discussion. Felt like a what do you say? More of a fireside chat, a bonfire chat of sorts, and interesting questions that came up. Vineet, your question is I need to understand your question a little bit more, so I'll definitely connect with you and answer your question. And thanks to all the audience who engaged with us, and many more who will be watching the recording. And thanks to all our panelists for being part of such a spectacular event, which was formal, informal, and yet insightful and engaging. Right. And hope all of you had a great time. And thank you so much for joining. Good evening, good night to all of you. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Thank
Ram.
you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you, Ram. Thanks, Ram.
Thank
Thanks,
you, Ram.
everyone.
Thank you, Ram.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.